Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining me another week of the Tarot Solution Shy podcast. Tonight I have a super special guest with me, Miss Tina Phillips, owner of No Shame Reiki Counseling and Consultation. Miss Phillips, thank you so much for joining me this evening.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Stephanie. I'm so excited to be here with you and all your listeners tonight.
Yes, no, so I just wanted, you have so much experience and so many gifts, I know. So what about yourself? Can you tell people how you got to this place where you're working with the community, and what is your focus and how did you get there?
Well, I guess when you're looking at like journeys, I knew from a very young age that I was kind of different. And I struggled with that a lot. I grew up in a charismatic church that my father was the pastor of in Seattle, Washington, and it was a mixed race church. And I sang there, and I also did like the trauma ministry and dance, and I mean, like I was one of those kids. I was at church like every day, like no exaggerating.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it was one of those things. And my parents actually back in the day, now that I've gotten a little bit deeper into my spirituality, I know that my mother is also gifted. But back in the day, my parents were known as the demon busters, and so people would come from like all over the country, and they would just show up at our church. So I saw some really different kind of things from, being a young child. And people used to just always say, "Oh, you're so discerning, because I can meet somebody off that and be like, no, I don't, their energy or their spirit just doesn't vibe with mine. I don't feel that." And I didn't know what it was. I thought it was probably just discernment too. And so fast forward a little bit, I had a lot of fun in high school, and my parents didn't like that, so they decided I was going to go to Oral Roberts University for college. Yes, and, there I really started to see things differently, and I started off as a pre-law student and then changed my major eventually 4 times, but what I landed on was social work. Yeah. I landed on social work, and I thrived in that area, and I thought it was just the helping part of me. I thought my mother is also a social worker, so I thought that maybe it was just, I had picked that up from her, and so I was like the president of the social work club, and I started some outreach in the community there, and just was really involved. And so after graduation, I started working in the child welfare field, and I just started getting a lot of feedback from my clients that when they would come around, they just felt like very safe. People would start telling me stuff. I could be in the line in grocery stores, and I had like checkers would like break down crying in the middle of like, beeping all of my little groceries and stuff. I'm like, I just want to start groceries. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't, I always had empathy for people, but I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And so for years, I just kind of thought it was what it was. I thought it was just because I was a social worker. And then I started doing a lot of ancestral history and found out that on my mother's side of the family, that there was, so my grandmother is Haitian, and found out that in our lineage there was a priestess, a very high priestess, a high-ranking priestess, who was very spiritually gifted.
Oh, okay, wow.
And so once I got that information, I was like, wow, I don't really know what to do with that. But I always had felt very pulled to like Oshun, and just felt very drawn to that energy.
Okay.
And so, but I always felt like conflicted because the way I grew up and the things that I was taught and what I learned was like, no, anything outside of the Christianity box is wrong.
Right.
And so, but for me, it didn't feel wrong. And so I was very conflicted. And even though while I was at ORU and everything, I still went to church. While I was a social worker, I still went to church. I ended up going to graduate school at the University of Oklahoma and getting my master's social work degree and started being a therapist. And even in that role, I started attracting a lot of people who had very severe and complex trauma. and I was working with them and getting breakthroughs. And I, at the time, didn't even have, like, extensive training in trauma. I just would always do whatever, like, intuitively, whatever I felt like needed to happen, that's what I would just do. And so I quickly kind of gained a reputation in the area for dealing with especially what they would call, like, resistant mothers. And a lot of times that's what they were talking about, Black moms who would be, you know, difficult to work with is what they would call them. And so I started working with them, and then I also started working a lot with young men who were in, like, gang activity, kind of the street lifestyle. Started working with them a lot and would be getting, like, these breakthroughs a lot.
Wow.
And so it was really great work. I ended up moving from Oklahoma to South Carolina, which is where I am now, and became a program manager, a clinical program manager for a sexual assault center here in South Carolina, and got a lot of extensive training in trauma work. And so I became an EMDR therapist, which is eye movement desensitization reprocessing, which is the number one trauma intervention. And so I got, you know, certified in that. I picked up some other things, became a certified play therapist, all these sorts of things to help. And then in 2018, though, it was like everything in my life just really fell apart. And I've had some really low moments in my life before, but in 2018, it was like I was just buried in just grief. I was buried in despair. I didn't know where my life was going, and I just felt like things aren't right. So I started looking for, like, the right answer. And I'm also a makeup artist. And so I was like, well, maybe I just need to plug into that a little more. If I just plug into that, get some hobbies, you know, do some things like what I always tell my clients to do. Find something fun to do. Find something that sparks your joy and energy. So I started doing that. I paid a ridiculous amount of money to get certified to be a lash tech, to do eyelashes. And one of the things I had to purchase when I did that was a bed or like a massage table so that I could do people's eyelashes on it. And I bought this. I invested all this money in the class plus supplies. And after I got the training, I did one set of eyelashes and was like, I hate this. Like, this is not for me. No. And that was the beginning of 2018. And I met at the sexual assault center I was working at. There were two people, two other therapists there who I met. And people started calling us the Force. And it was funny, but when the three of us would get together, we had, like, this incredible, all of us are very intuitive, but we also had this incredible sense of just peace and calm that we would bring to situations. And we wouldn't know where it came from, but it just kind of was, or I didn't know where it came from, but it was just kind of a thing. And I was going to therapy myself because I believe that you should not buy something from someone who does not use their own product. So as a therapist, I have to go to therapy too, right? Because I believe in what I do.
Yeah.
So I was seeing my therapist, and I was just like, I don't understand this. I feel this pull. I knew I was an empath, but it was just like I was missing something. Something deeper was supposed to be happening, and I knew that there was a higher calling for me. And I was going to church at the time, but then my church closed down, like, on some messy stuff. Like,
wow.
And so I was just like, okay, like, what is this?
Now
like,
what?
Like, God, where are you? Yeah. And so I came across someone who told me just flat out, emphatically, no uncertain terms, they said, you're struggling because you're not doing what you're supposed to do, and Spirit has called you to something deeper and something higher. And I was like, well, that resonates with me. I know I'm supposed to be doing something higher than what I'm doing. So I ended up going to a metaphysical fair, and with those two friends, actually, it was on my birthday. No, it wasn't on my birthday. I went last year on my birthday, but it was this particular time I went to the fair, and I had a Reiki session done on me, and it felt so. I was very anxious at first when I got on the table, and was like, oh my gosh, what is this? And she explained it to me that it's an energy healing, basically, that focuses on your different chakra zones that helps to bring balance to you. And so if you can imagine what an emotional and spiritual massage would be like, that's what it is. So it's like it's internal. And I got on the table, and I could feel things shifting in me. And when I sat up, she told me, she was just like, okay. She gave me a couple of things. She said, you've got to work on, being more open to spiritual things because spirit is calling you. And I said, okay. And then she also told me some other things that were going on. She's like, you got to watch your blood sugar. I was like, yeah, and I was diabetic, so I couldn't figure out how she knew that.
Right.
But as I was walking away, she said, wait, come back. And so I did, and she said, you're supposed to come to my Reiki class. And so I was like, okay. So I did. I went to the Reiki class. And so long story short, I ended up getting my Reiki 1 and 2 and also got my master level Reiki a couple of months later.
Awesome.
And so I've been practicing Reiki ever since. And so that is now what that bed is for. So that's
not the lashes, right? You gave up on that.
I am certified. I do eyebrows, though. I do eyebrows.
Oh, okay.
But no, that is for Reiki. And it's been a wonderful ride. So I have incorporated my own flavor into it, my own gifts. Because I know now and I have accepted that I am a seer and I am a healer. And that's what I was put on this earth to do. So when people get up off the Reiki table, I have gotten some great insights. So I keep a big dry erase board in there, and I write down everything that I see in each of their chakra zones. So basically when they come to me, they get the Reiki, but they also get basically a full reading.
A consultation, yeah.
Yeah, so it's been great. So I have I see a lot of clinicians, therapists, because I have an emotional first responders rate. One of the things that would really annoy me when I would go get my oil changes, they'd be like, are you a teacher? No. Are you an EMT or a police officer? I'm like, no. I do go sit with people when they get raped at the hospital. So and they're like, no, that doesn't count. And I was like, really? Okay.
Wow.
So I started what's called an emotional first responder. So we do take care of law enforcement as well as ambulance, but we also take care of physicians, therapists, and pastors.
That's amazing.
So we give them a very heavy discount because I think that when you hold the pain and trauma of other people, you definitely have got to work to clear that out. So we do that. It's been a wonderful ride, and I am really enjoying what's coming up. So I am actually doing my first Reiki training because as a master Reiki specialist, you can train and attune other people to become Reiki healers. So I have my first training coming up. We've had to put it off a little bit because of COVID, but we're going to forge ahead in September. So I'm really excited about that.
That is so awesome, man. I just feel really honored to have had you on today. And I actually want to invite you back for another time because I want to hear a little more in depth, if that's okay, if you would join us. Another date for sure. But thank you so much for sharing that. And I want to let people know before you go, where can people follow everything that you're doing, like it, share, and get involved?
You can look for me on Instagram at instagram.com/no-shame-counseling_Reiki. And Reiki is spelled REIKI. And then I'm also on Facebook as No Shame CRC. And my website is noshamecounseling.com.
Okay, and everybody, we have her links also in the description. But thank you again, Tina, for coming on, and I'll look forward to speaking with you at a different date.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed that.
Yes, for sure. Is there anything else that you want to say right before we go? We have 50 seconds.
Yes, I just want to tell everyone, be kind to yourself. It's nice to be nice, but it's wonderful to be kind. Kindness is a mixture of complete honesty, but also compassionate care. And I believe if we're kind to ourselves, we will automatically start being kind to other people. So watch what you say to you about you, and make sure that you're having compassionate care towards yourself.
Ashe, man. Thank you so much, Tina, and God bless you. And just thank you guys for tuning in. Follow Tina Phillips and everything that she's doing out there, and contact her. And you guys have a wonderful night. Ashe.